Now clicking the coat of arms is what gets us to the main menu where most of the tweaking for the nation is done. So we'll open it up, and this is the Overview tab. Each of these little things gives you a different page of this book, and it kind of gives us, this one is basically, as it says, the overview. It gives us a total overview of just the basic things that we need to know about our nation. So it tells us our type of government, which in England's case now is an absolute monarchy, which there are only two types of basic government, a monarchy or a republic. There are a bunch of different variations, though, and as your government technology goes up, it raises that. An absolute monarchy gets extra magistrates and extra discipline, which is pretty good. We're English. English tells us we're in the British group, which is in the same culture group as American and Scottish. And underneath is, we also tolerate the following cultures. Welsh. Now, the Welsh are in the Celtic group, so they're not in our culture group, but tolerating them means that you get slightly more taxes out of them than you would otherwise. They need to make up a significant portion of your tax base, though, anyway, so if we colonize a lot and spread English culture around, then we might run the risk of losing Welsh culture, and then they would pay fewer taxes and be a little more uppity. Henry Tudor the Eighth is the monarch. There's a little more information on him in the next tab. His top value is prestige, just like up here. This is the rank. Rank is strictly by who has the most prestige. If you have 100, which is the max, you're probably going to be number one. We're Catholic. We have an honourable reputation, which just means that we have zero infamy. This just gives us kind of a brief description of what our infamy means. It used to be before Heir to the Throne, this didn't exist, so this was the only way you could see your infamy. They've added that to the top bar now, so that's a little more useful. Modifiers, we don't have any, but those are just national modifiers. They'll also appear as icons here that we can hover over. This gives us an overview of our diplomatic relations. Allied with Portugal, royal marriage with Spain, imperialism, casus belli on all countries. That means we can go to war with all countries for the reason of imperialism. Liberation on all countries that can release states. That is a different reason to be able to go to war. Member of the Hanseatic Trade League, as I noted a few videos back. This one is mostly for the AI rivals. England, for some reason, views Scotland, Denmark, Bohemia, and Venice as natural rivals. Scotland and Denmark make sense, but I don't know why Bohemia and Venice are natural rivals. And it feels threatened by France, Spain, and Scotland, which makes sense. France and Spain are two big powers that are kind of near them, and they have a relationship with them, and Scotland is an adjacent power. And then this is relationships. It can be sorted alphabetically by clicking this, or relation-wise by this. It's a little more useful this way because it gives you a list in order of who likes you and who doesn't like you. So Portugal, the Pope, Spain, and Scotland all kind of like us. Countries like France, Brandenburg, Transylvania, they're all okay with us. And down here, countries like Persia, the Ottomans, Tripoli don't like us, although they don't hate us yet either, so that's not too bad. The relations go from 200, which means they pretty much are best friends, to negative 200, which means they loathe you. This doesn't necessarily mean they won't declare war, though, although having 200 relations means they're much less likely to declare war than having negative 200. We can also create vassal states from our provinces. For instance, we could release Cornwall, Wales, or Northumberland as vassal states. The only reason you do this is you don't want to deal with them yourself, and there's really no reason to do it as England. But if we conquered Ireland, maybe we would want to release Ireland as a vassal for some reason. Their provinces are kind of poor, so that might not be a bad idea. But there's no reason to do it right now. The next tab is sort of the Royal Court tab. This one lists our king, Henry VIII. He's a member of the Tudor dynasty, which is historically accurate, and the name of the dynasty is basically going to be carried over as long as we have an heir to the throne who shares the dynasty. There are ways the dynasty can change, like if the king dies now, he has no heir right now, so we would have to get a new monarch. What exactly would happen? Well, according to this, if Henry VIII were to die, A noble from House von Habsburg would succeed to the throne, which that's great. They always do that. But there's also a chance, thanks to our royal marriage with Spain, that a Spanish noble would succeed to the throne. And if you have a strong enough royal marriage and more prestige than somebody, it's entirely possible to put your king on the throne, which can cause you to either enter a union with them, which means like they give you money but they aren't part of your country yet, or even inherit them, which is nice. It would be very nice to be able to inherit another country, and I might try to do that in a little bit to show how it works. Now, Henry VIII is a fantastic king. All monarchs have 3 stats: administration, diplomacy, and military. Henry has a 7 in all of them. 9 is the highest possible, so he's good in all categories. Administrative is basically your build costs are lower, it's a little easier to get stability, your merchants are better, your colonists are better, you lose more war exhaustion, you have better technology. So administration is basically money, running the country, that sort of thing. High administration is really good. If you're playing a republic, you can choose which candidate to focus on, so you can get an administration candidate, and his administration score is likely to be higher. Diplomacy, of course, is how many diplomats you get, how fast you lose infamy, how much infamy you can have, how good your spies are, and it also has a general effect on diplomatic overtures that you make to other countries. They're more likely to be successful, which is nice. Military, the morale of your country, how well your military keeps up technologically, and the military score of the king also influences how good a general they are if you turn your ruler into a general, which I'll show on one of the other tabs. Then we have the great men of the court, which are your advisors. Right now we can't change them because we got historical advisors since we started later than 1399. So we have Erasmus, Thomas Wolsey, Thomas Cranmer, historical people. I can show in the next tab what these guys do. And then we have the heir, which we don't have right now.